Brandon Robinson, Scoop B, from the Scoop B Radio podcast. He's here to join me to talk some NBA basketball. And Scoop is talking a lot about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers fiasco that's happened this year. How do you see that this situation turned so ugly?
LeBron James. Hey, what's going on with the show? I think the biggest thing is obviously the Christmas game when LeBron hurt his groin, and it was actually worse than what people thought it would be. He didn't come back until the 31st of January, I believe, that Clippers game at home. I don't know if the Clippers were home, but they were at Staples Center, and even with LeBron returning, the team is still 5-12 in his return, and Lonzo Ball being hurt is also a factor. You have Anthony Davis and that trade that was discussed between the Pelicans and the Lakers. It just, year one was never supposed to be championship winning, but you would have hoped that there would be more than a team not making the playoffs, and a lot of questions about LeBron's health and more. And I think LeBron still has a lot left in the tank, but definitely that Christmas game and the groin definitely changed the trajectory of a lot of things.
Okay, so here's my thing, because we all felt that they wouldn't win the championship the first year, especially not with another star. But LeBron had to know that these guys weren't ready for the rigors of an NBA season when things got rough, which they did around the trade deadline, that these guys just didn't respond. And it seems like, sitting at the end of the bench, not talking to his teammates, some of the comments he's made, it seems like that I honestly don't feel like he was mentally prepared for if this season went down the rails.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, Dashawn, going back to about, 2011 to 2018, LeBron James has been to the NBA Finals. He's played in the Olympics. He's played in, and we'll even say from 2008 to 2018 or 2019. He's done a lot. There's a lot of mileage on his legs. I was reading somewhere that between playoffs, regular season, Olympics, he's played over 156,000 minutes in the NBA.
Wow.
It's a lot of mileage on the body. And not to mention the pressure of being who he is. You come in as a rookie and you're the self-proclaimed king, and you have to live up to that. I know oftentimes people make the comparisons to LeBron and Michael, and Michael did not come in with that expectation off the bat. I talked to an NBA Hall of Famer a few months ago. We were on the phone for an hour, and they said, you're a child in the 90s, so I'm sure you assumed that Michael was just that dude coming out the gate. And they said to me, Michael was growing in the 80s. Michael didn't become that dominant guy like that until after the Bulls beat the Pistons in the conference finals in 91, and ended up winning the NBA Finals against the Lakers in 91, and went on, up to this illustrious storybook story of Michael winning 6 championships. So I think LeBron has a lot of imagery of chasing Michael to some, and then also he's moved around to different teams. He's dealt with pressure. He's been a brand. He's done a lot, and I think that I believe that groin injury was kind of a blessing in disguise, if you ask me, because he got to slow down for a change.
Wow. We're talking with Brandon Robinson. His podcast is Scoop B Radio. You can follow him on Twitter at Scoop B. That's at Scoop B on Twitter. All right, so where do the Lakers go from here? I said it earlier. I feel like that Luke Walton is a dead man walking, so to speak, as far as his job. I think he's going to be let go at the end of the year. I think they're going to look for more of a coach that LeBron can kind of see eye to eye with, who's already won in this league. I think they have to add another superstar. Where do the Lakers go to kind of rectify a situation that's just been a mess so far?
A couple of things. One, you look at the situation with the Pelicans, and do you rekindle those talks with the Pelicans in the offseason? Because now they could potentially get Anthony Davis, because now the Boston Celtics come into play around draft time, where, Kyrie Irving and those questions about whether he'll resign will be issues. And then you have, the 3 to 4 draft picks that they can offer, the Celtics can offer the Pelicans. Danny Ainge has had his eye on Anthony Davis for a while. Then you look at the Lakers situation. They'll have a top 10 to top 12 draft pick, the way that their seeding is looking in the regular season. And just they won't get Zion, but they'll be able to go out and get somebody in the draft. But then the other factor is what else do you do in free agency? You got guys like Kyrie Irving who are available, Kawhi Leonard who's available, DeAndre Jordan who's available, Kevin Durant, a myriad of other people. So, you have that's thrown into the pot. And then, like you mentioned, the coaching aspect. Do you if Walton is to be fired, where do you look? I reported throughout the course of the season that Mark Jackson as well as Jason Kidd is someone who is of interest. But then you look a little further. There's been reports. I didn't report this, but there's been reports that Doc Rivers would be able to basically slide coaching chairs and still remain in the Los Angeles area and become a head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So, Ty Lue's name has been floated around a lot to come over to LA. But, the Lakers have a lot of restructuring, and in year one it was a flop. But, I also think what happens with Brandon Ingram's health, that injury that he has is pretty serious, And so, you have a lot of things to consider in the offseason. But, I mean, when you're rebuilding with LeBron James, that is a consolation prize. And I think in year one, it was incomplete. They got a lot of work to do in the offseason, particularly because, Magic Johnson has made some guarantees. And, I ran into Rob Pelinka during All-Star Weekend, and I said to him, man, I'm sorry you guys didn't make out the way that you would have liked, but, I wish you guys the best moving forward. And, he was contrite. I said, man, thank you. And, we're trying to build a championship caliber team to Los Angeles. And it seems like, this summer they were looking to do that, but Lance Stevenson, Michael Beasley weren't really the pieces that were needed. I mean, you got rid of Zubac, and he's in L.A. with the Clippers living his best life.
Yeah, and I look at it a little deeper, and I talked about it a little bit earlier too, where when you look at the Lakers the last couple seasons, it's like they're just star chasing. LaMarcus Aldridge, it's either him or, okay, we got to settle. Carmelo Anthony a little bit before that, it's either him or we got to settle. Kevin Durant, it's star chasing and it's not star developing. And I think it's hurt them as a team because now you don't have the stars. You just got LeBron. You got a bunch of draft picks who either aren't living up to their potential, they're hurt, or whatever the case may be. Now, if they don't get Anthony Davis this offseason, what is their plan? Because LeBron has signed – this isn't a 1+1. This was a 4-year deal where he's a Los Angeles Laker.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked – it's funny. I've been coming on your show or variations or iterations of your show the last 9 months and really about 10 months. And I'll say that one of the things that's been consistent is what's LeBron going to do next? And, me coming on your show probably initially started with the whole Space Jam thing. And what I can tell you is, yeah, it is true. He came out there to L.A. for more than just basketball. He came out there for brand building. He came out there for intellectual property. If you listen to what he said in the finals when they were down to Golden State, he said, the next move that I make will be in a familiar place, somewhere I've been before or that my family's familiar with. Southern California is someplace he and his family are familiar with outside of Northeast Ohio. He's going to have to make the best of it, and I think that as much as people have criticized him, I think LeBron has always been the type of person who has rose to the occasion based off of that criticism. And he seems unbothered. I think he seems unbothered because he knows something. And here's the other thing I'll add, and I've posed this question to a few people. I've had ESPN senior writer Ramona Shelburne on the Scoop B Radio podcast, as well as Bleacher Report's Rick Bucher on over the last couple of weeks. I posed this question to them, and it's interesting. You look at LeBron James when he was in Miami and played with Wade and Bosh, and in LeBron's first year in Miami, he respected the fact that it was Wade's team. Bosh played his role. Wade retires at season's end. And so now LeBron becomes this elder statesman, if you will, the next guy that's like the OG. Kobe had it, Wade has it now, and then, LeBron will be that guy. They'll celebrate him when he, finally retires or whatever. And the question that I posed to both Ramona and Rick Bucher was this. When you look at LeBron and the fact that he deferred to Wade in year one, and in year two, Wade basically told him, it's your team, go out and get buckets. When you look at LeBron, he's never had to really defer to anybody, but now that he's maybe a little bit older, here's the question that I posed to them. If somebody that's a big-time free agent like an Anthony Davis or Kevin Durant comes, does LeBron extend that torch to them the same way that Wade extended it to him? Because he's getting older. You want to take a guy under your wing. You want to preserve. You want to get longevity. If you look at Wade, after they won that first championship in 2006, beating Miami Heat, he went through some bumps and bruises. LeBron comes to 2011, and he literally got 2 more championships out of LeBron and Bosh coming. That's a blessing. Maybe LeBron should take a page out of that book to extend his career a little bit more. Can he defer? Can he let the younger guy come in and score in volumes? Can he let that guy become the face? If you look at what I reported in September about Kevin Durant and all that other stuff, that might epitomize the next move.
And I totally agree with you. And to an even deeper extent, Kyrie Irving, when he was in Cleveland, LeBron wasn't ready at that time. Now, you can make the argument that he didn't have to. He's in the Eastern Conference. The Cavs were going to the finals. But Kyrie Irving is an up-and-coming star that felt like that, hey, it's my time. And you could make an argument that LeBron was a little hesitant at that time to say, you know what, maybe it is his time and it's time for me to take a back seat. So it's always tough when a superstar, especially of LeBron's caliber, has to make that decision for the greater good. But let's move on to a young guy coming into the league next year, Zion Williamson. We all know what happened with the injury a couple weeks ago. Now he's back and they won the ACC tournament. How do you see a guy like Zion coming into the league? Is he a guy that could be the next big thing, or is everyone kind of getting out of hand because the flashy dunks and that kind of thing?
I think people are looking for what's new and what's next. And I think when you look at that situation with Zion and getting hurt, I think it was, again, a blessing in disguise like LeBron, because you're able to kind of preserve yourself for the next chapter in your life, assumingly if he, declares for the NBA draft, which many believe he will. That being said, I've gone on record and said that I believe that Zion Williamson is a midpoint between Julius Randle and Blake Griffin, a guy that's 6'7", 280, that can pound the floor, can make flashy dunks, and he has a jumper that I think can improve even more. I think he's all right. I think that you sometimes people get tangled in the doldrums of being the first overall pick and the pressure that comes with that. You think of names like Sam Bowie, you think of names like Greg Oden, but I think Zion Williamson is a special player, and I think that to be mentioned in the same breath, Blake Griffin would be a compliment, because he'd be a slam dunk champion. He'd be a guy who didn't just become a slam dunk guy, but developed a jumper, developed something. I feel like when you look at Blake Griffin was everything that Dominique Wilkins was supposed to be. Dominique was a high flyer, but his jumper was never respected. Blake Griffin's jumper is respected. And left the Clippers situation and it became the focal point of the Pistons offense. And they were in that rebuilding project. They'll be okay. But when you look at Zion Williamson, I like what he's doing at Duke, the positive dude. And to be honest with you, I think that injury in that sneaker is going to raise the value. To kind of take a play out of DJ Khaled's book, he's got to go and get his bag, and Nike knows that. And now you open the door for people like Puma to come in and do what they need to do. Puma gave me a pair of shoes last month, man. They feel like Nikes. They're comfortable. And Puma's really put a lot of time and energy into really competing with the big players like Adidas and Nike. And it's crazy because after that Zion injury, they put out that tweet saying, that wouldn't happen to Puma, and then deleted it. That was smart. That was great business.
That was great marketing. Yes. B. Sure. You know how we do. Let's keep it all the way 100. Is Zion Williamson changing an NBA franchise? I want a yes or no, B. You know how we do. Is he changing the Cleveland Cavaliers? Is he changing the New York Knicks? If he goes to one of those teams, is he changing that franchise?
Not by himself, no. I think that LeBron James is special. He was heralded in a certain way that you haven't seen even anybody like Michael or Tracy McGrady do. No, but I think that if he's drafted on the right team, like the Knicks, like if the Knicks were to go out and get Kevin Durant this summer, and Zion and KD and Kevin Knox and some of those other guys were able to do it, I think he could do it by committee. By himself, no. But I don't wish ill will on that brother. I don't use a LeBron comparison. I use the Blake Griffin and Julius Randle comparison more so. And I think he can have longevity for some time. When I watch Zion, there's something about him that not only reminds me of Blake Griffin and Julius Randle, it reminds me of Antonio McDyess. Antonio McDyess was a high flyer coming into the Denver Nuggets, and then, watched him get hurt with the Knicks and was never really the same again. I think if Zion Williamson stays healthy, I think he could be a problem in this league for a long time. But I don't see him making an impact right away, but I do see him being that dude that when his numbers call will be a key contributor on the team.
There you go. That's Brandon Robinson. You can follow him on Twitter at ScoopB. Check out the Scoop B Radio podcast. Also visit scoopb.com. Scoop is always dropping knowledge and dropping news. He's a great NBA follow. We call him the Black Woj. So thank you, Scoop. Until we talk again, my friend.
My brother, thank you for allowing me to be myself. Keep doing your thing.